Hello and welcome to another video on this channel. Today we are considering an important topic in our discussion. It has to do with chances, the chances that diversity visa applicants have when it comes to being scheduled for interview. Recently, I introduced you to a website whose owner extracts diversity visa data from the official SEAG website and publishes them to his own website. And I said that we will regularly return to that website because it contains valuable information that we need for our discussions. And so today we are returning to that website. Our visit to the website is in connection with a tool that many of you have already taken interest in because it is meant to tell you your chances of being scheduled for interview. So we are going to consider that tool. We are going to see how to use it, the circumstances for which it was created, the extent to which that tool fits in the current context of the diversity visa program, and we will also use the opportunity to touch on a few of your questions. So now let's go over to that website, Zatishas's website, and discuss. Here is the website. I'm going to put the link to this website in the description of this video. Click on that link and you will be taken to this page. On the left side of this page, click on the SEAG data for your diversity visa program year. Ours is DV 2023, so we click on it and it takes us to the DV 2023 SEAG data page. Scroll down that page past the SEAG data for embassies, and the next item is the tool in question that says how many cases there are before and after May. Using this tool is quite simple. Click in this space and type your case number, and after that click on the check button. In our case, we use a test case number from the Europe region, 2023 EU 34567, and then we click on the check button, and that shows us that the case with this case number has 18,036 cases before and 420 cases after. Now, some of you have been asking whether the cases in question are cases that are yet to be scheduled in that region, whether they are cases that have been scheduled, or whether they are cases that have been interviewed. And the answer to that is the cases that are shown after using this tool are all actual cases that are found in your region, not just those that are to be scheduled or those that have been scheduled for interview or those that have been interviewed, but all cases that are before and after you in your region. And so it does not include vacant case numbers, which are generally referred to as holes or gaps. Next, we have that yields approximately 39,151 people before and 912 people after you. Now, some of you have been having problems with this, but you shouldn't. The number of people that you see here are the number of people or applicants that are in the cases that are before and after you. And so in our case here, the 18,036 cases contain approximately 39,151 people in them, and then the 420 cases contain approximately 912 persons. Next, we see that this case is in the 98th percentile, which is close to the 100th, and it shows that this case is very close to the highest case number in the Europe region. Remember, we saw that the highest case number in the Europe region is 35,525. And so with this case number being 34,567, it is indeed very close to the highest case number. And the conclusion from this tool is that there's a high risk that the case with this case number from the Europe region will miss out on being scheduled for a diversity visa interview. This tool actually tells you whether your case number is a high one, an average one, or a low one. In case you use this tool and you see that there are few cases before your case number and many cases after your case number, then it means that your case number is a low one in your region. In case the number of cases before and after you are about the same, then it means that your case number is an average case number in your region. And then in case you have many cases before you but fewer cases after you, like in our case here, then it means that your case number is a high case number. So that is how you go about using this tool and what the various outcomes from using this tool mean. We've tried this for the Europe region, but it can be done for any other region. So no matter the region you are from, simply type in your case number and click on the check button, and then you will get to know the number of cases that are before and after you, as well as the approximate number of people or applicants that are in those cases before and after you. Now, some of you have used this tool and you are like, I have this number of cases before me and this number of cases after me. Do I stand a chance of receiving my 2NL or my interview notification? To answer this question, let me say this. There are a number of things that we also have to take into consideration, not just concerning the tool, but the chances of diversity visa applicants in general. Let's begin by considering the tool. This tool was created by the owner of this website, having in mind how the diversity visa program should be administered under normal circumstances. And so that tool works perfectly when you are in a normal diversity visa environment. A couple of things that identify a normal diversity visa environment are the respect of case number order when it comes to cases being scheduled for interview in each region. And what ensures that that happens is a gradual movement in the visa bulletin cutoff numbers, especially during the first half of the diversity visa program year. And so when you have these conditions, that tool is perfect in determining your chances of being scheduled for an interview. But when these circumstances do not exist, then it is not advisable to rely on the conclusion that you get from that tool. A couple of videos ago, I mentioned that the current DV program cannot be considered as a normal diversity visa program entirely because in some regions we see signs of normality, whereas in other regions we see signs of abnormality. And so when it comes to the regions that show sign of normality, that tool can comfortably be used by applicants. Europe being one of those regions, I can recommend that applicants in the Europe region use that tool in determining their chances of being scheduled for an interview. But when it comes to the other regions, regions that show signs of abnormality, I do not recommend the use of that tool. What applicants in such regions should do instead is to focus their attention on the working status or the performance of their respective embassies. Now, let me make a couple of things clear. When I say that a diversity visa year is not a normal diversity visa year, it doesn't mean that interviews are not being scheduled or being conducted. It doesn't mean that visas are not being issued out or that the 55,000 visas will not be issued out by the end of the fiscal year. What it simply means is that the norms that govern the diversity visa program are not being respected in that year. They are not being applied, period. Now, another thing is that you hear me speak about normal diversity visa year and normal diversity visa circumstances or environment. It is because not all years are entirely normal or abnormal. You have some years where there are some regions that show signs of normality, whereas other regions show signs of abnormality. So when you have such a hybrid situation, we cannot speak of a normal diversity visa year, but we will be speaking about normal diversity visa circumstances or normal diversity visa environment. That is why you hear me use these different terminologies. So what you should remember when it comes to your chances of being scheduled for an interview as a diversity visa applicant is that in case you find yourself in a normal diversity visa environment, then the indicator of how good or how bad your chances are when it comes to being scheduled for interview is your case number. The lower your case number, the higher your chances are, and the higher your case number, the lower your chances are. But in case you are in an abnormal diversity visa environment, then you no longer look to your case number, you look rather to the performance of your embassy, the working status of your embassy, to determine how good or how bad your chances are when it comes to your case being scheduled for interview. That is how it works when it comes to the chances that diversity visa applicants have of being scheduled for interview. Which brings us to the end of today's discussion. Thanks for watching this video. There are more important discussions coming up, so keep tuned and I will see you, God willing, in the next one. Until then, goodbye.